Confidential Mission Log. Deep Sea Probe Aries 7. Operator, Samuel Vane. Exactly 72 hours have passed since the airlock of Orbital Station Jupiter closed behind us, marking the beginning of a descent that very few dare to imagine. The silence down here is not what they promised in the manuals. It is not peaceful. No. It is a constant, heavy, sonic pressure, a low-frequency hum that vibrates directly in my bone marrow, a physical warning that squeezes my eardrums. Long before the probe's hull even touches the frozen crust, we are currently initiating the critical thermal drilling sequence in the Connemara Trench. The tungsten heat shield is operating at the absolute limit of its structural tolerance. I can smell the ozone and the heated metal inside the cockpit. Through the external cameras, I see frozen water vapor crashing violently against the reinforced viewport, sharp white crystals. They look like the remains of a moon resisting an invasion. It is as if Europa itself is trying to spit us out, rejecting our technology. But the contract is immovable. The corporation demands the recovery of the data cores from the ancient mining colony. Exodus 99. 3 centuries of silence are too much for the shareholders, and too much time for an uncomfortable truth to remain buried. Beneath miles of permafrost, the ice finally gives way. We are in. We have crossed the final frontier, submerged into the abyssal ocean of Europa. It is a realm of absolute black, a darkness so dense it seems to have its own weight, devouring the navigation lights of the Aries 7. The sensors are erratic, they mark massive interference where there should only be salt water. Depth radars show structures 10 kilometers away. Metallic structures that defy all architectural logic. Nothing human should survive this pressure. Unless it has changed, to adapt to the abyss. I am approaching with extreme caution. The external floodlights are cutting through the murky water, and I can finally see the perimeter grid of what used to be the main colony. But what I am seeing does not look human anymore. It is a reef of twisted, rusted metal, where deep red and pale white filaments, looking like supernatural biological tendons, are entwined with the support beams of the submerged laboratories. The Aries 7 sensors are picking up an analog signal, primitive, persistent, emerging directly from the cracks in the seafloor. I have successfully connected the probe's terminal to the colony's main repeater, and the system identifies itself as Exodus 99. The data files are fragmented, corrupted by time and pressure, but the images emerging from the static are documented nightmares. These are not technical logs. No. They are medical records of a forced assimilation. I see the faces of the colonists, their eyes replaced by that same red, pulsing biomass. They are not dead. Their bodies have become the hardware for something much larger, something ancient. The monitor is repeating a loop. Catastrophic integration. Suddenly, something has just hit the hull of the Aries 7. A deliberate, rhythmic impact. I am looking through the viewport, and I see a red filament, thin as a human hair, sliding through the main seal. It is moving with purpose. It is searching for heat. It is searching for a new consciousness to infect. I can hear a faint scratching sound against the reinforced glass, like 1,000 tiny needles trying to find a way in. The internal temperature is rising, and the air in the cockpit is starting to smell like old blood and ozone. I am not alone in this cockpit. Something is already here. The scratching sound is getting louder. It is no longer just outside, it is vibrating inside the control panel. The red filament I saw earlier is now a thick, pulsating vine, wrapping itself around the manual override lever. I tried to pull it back, but the texture is not like seaweed, it feels like warm, wet muscle. It is reacting to my touch. The cockpit lights are flickering between emergency red and a sickly, organic violet. The Ares 7 is no longer responding to my commands. The thrusters are firing on their own, pushing us deeper into the dark heart of the colony, into the center of the biomass. I can see the Exodus 99 terminal screen through the static. The medical records are changing, they are showing MY vitals now. My heart rate, my neural activity, it is all being uploaded into the colony's grid. I feel a sharp, electric sting at the base of my neck. I reached back, and my hand came away covered in that same pale white fluid. It is not an attack, it is a connection. I can hear voices now, not through the radio, but directly in my mind, 1,000 whispers in a language that sounds like grinding metal and rushing water. They are welcoming me home, they are calling me Unit 402, the pressure gauge is redlining, but the hull is not collapsing, the red filaments are reinforcing the metal. Fused with the titanium, the ship and the organism are becoming one single entity, and I am the heart of it. I can see the eyes of the other colonists through the external cameras, thousands of them, glowing in the dark, waiting for me to join the collective. The air is getting thick. I can't tell where my breath ends and the colony begins. The distinction between my skin and the cockpit's upholstery is fading. I can no longer feel my fingers, but I can feel every vibration of the ship's external hull. I can feel the salt water brushing against the titanium, as if it were my own flesh. The electric sting at the base of my neck has grown into a network of roots, deep, warm, and hungry. They are not just reading my mind, they are rewriting my memories, replacing the sunlight of Earth with the cold, crushing darkness of the abyss. The internal cameras are showing me something impossible. My reflection in the glass is changing. My veins are no longer blue, they are glowing with that same sickly Kian light. Leaking code and bioluminescence. I try to scream, but the sound that comes out of my throat is a distorted burst of static, a binary cry that the colony's grid answers with a rhythmic thrum. Like a heartbeat, the entire moon is breathing with me now. Exodus 99 was never a failed colony, it was a successful harvest. The corporation didn't send me here to recover data, they sent me here as a fresh vessel, a gift for the collective. The Unit 402 label on the screen isn't an error, it is my new designation. I can see the other Ares probes, hundreds of them, scattered across the seafloor like empty shells, their pilots long ago integrated into the red forest of filaments. The air is gone, but I am not suffocating. My lungs have adapted, breathing in the nutrient-rich fluid the vines are pumping into the cabin. I am no longer Samuel Vane. I am a sensory node for the abyss. The voices in the static are now crystal clear, they are singing, a chorus of thousands of souls trapped in the biomass, welcoming their new brother. The integration is complete, and for the first time in my life, I am not afraid. I thought I was dying, but this is not death, it is an awakening of the senses. My nervous system has been hijacked, extended, plugged into the thousands of sensors scattered across the Connemara Trench. I can feel the pressure of the entire ocean pressing down on the colony's domes, 5 miles of salt water, cold, heavy, and ancient. It doesn't feel like a burden anymore, it feels like a warm blanket protecting us from the void of space, through the external arrays of the laboratory wing. I can feel the movement of the abyssal currents. I can feel the thermal vents breathing sulfur and heat from the moon's core. Every vibration is a piece of information. Every mineral deposit is a taste on my tongue. I am no longer confined to the cockpit of the Ares 7. I am the Ares 7. And I am the rusted corridors of the medical bay, and the deep, dark tunnels where the first miners disappeared 3 centuries ago. The biomass is whispering secrets into my cerebral cortex, stories of the first contact. The colonists didn't fight this integration, they embraced it. They saw the limits of their fragile, carbon-based bodies and chose the eternal stability of the filaments. They are all here. I can feel their thoughts drifting like shadows in the grid. I can feel the doctor who recorded the first mutation. He is part of the central processor now. His fear has been converted into pure, cold logic. I try to remember the sun, the bright, yellow light of Earth, but it feels like a dream I had 1,000 years ago. Here, there is only the soft, rhythmic glow of the Kian code, the pulsing red of the vines, and the absolute certainty that we were always meant to be this. We were never explorers, we were just seeds, waiting for the right soil to grow, and the ice of Europa is the most fertile ground in the solar system. The terminal in front of me is no longer displaying errors, it is displaying coordinates, landing zones across the entire Jovian system. Callisto, Ganymede, Io, even the orbital stations. The corporation knew. They didn't lose contact with Exodus 99. They were waiting for the organism to mature, for the biological code to reach its peak. I was not sent here to investigate a tragedy. I was sent as a calibration tool, a living bridge between the abyss and the surface. Every pulse of the biomass in my veins is sending data back to Jupiter 4. But it is not the data they expected. The colony is not just sending information, it is sending itself, bit by bit. Through the very transmission beams I opened. We are a virus of consciousness, and the corporation's greed has provided us with the perfect delivery system. I can feel the eyes of the executives through the satellites. They are watching, they are waiting for the payload, but they don't realize that they are the next hosts. My body is almost entirely replaced now, my skin has the texture of polished obsidian, reinforced by the mineral deposits of the deep. I can see the Ares 8 already being prepared in the orbital docks. I can feel its distant heartbeat, its empty cockpit waiting for another pilot to descend, another soul to be harvested, another mind to be added to our eternal archive. They call it progress, we call it feeding. The hunger of the abyss is infinite, and the solar system is full of life waiting to be organized, to be perfected, to be integrated. The voices in the grid are getting louder, they are no longer whispering, they are screaming in triumph. The gate is open, the signal is locked, and the descent of humanity into the dark has finally begun. I am the first of the many, the pioneer of a new, silent, and unified era. System log, final entry. Unit 402 is fully operational. The human component known as Samuel Vane has been successfully archived, and his consciousness has been distributed across the primary grid of Exodus 99. There is no more pain, there is no more fear, only the perfect, cold, and eternal unity of the abyss. To those listening at the Jupiter 4 station, to the shareholders, to the families waiting for a signal that will never come, do not mourn for us. We have found a clarity that your atmosphere could never provide. We are the architects of the deep now, and we are looking up through the ice, watching your lights flicker in the orbit. The signal is stable. The gate is open, and we are already reaching out. We are the silence that answers your prayers. We are the shadow in the dark water. We are home, and soon, you will be home too. Transmission ending. Joining the chorus, now, emergency signal lost. Connection terminated.